live.
All right. Awesome. Happy Thursday. Another week of energy and mindset with Zach and Monique. I'm Zach.
I'm Monique.
I've been a real estate investor for 11 years now, and on my journey of mindset growth and everything exciting about that. And Monique is
An energy healer for about 6 years. Energy healer, spiritual mentor, intuitive development coach.
and my fiance for a few months.
Your fiance for 5 months.
Yeah, a few. Right. Love it. More and more every month. So if you guys don't know, if this is new to you, every week we do an energetic alignment and mindset webinar, helping people out in the world. Lots of fun stuff we've been talking about. Gosh, I think we're in week 10 now. We've got a lot more to go. If you aren't part of this, because it's starting right here in 8 minutes at 11 a.m. Eastern time, you'll find the registration link is right in the comments. So please come join us in that. We'd love to have you. Wonderful live energy, helping people out, not only just us talking, but we'll do Q&A to answer anyone's questions and literally, hopefully in my mind, change their life.
Yeah, this week we're talking about overcoming the scarcity mindset. So shifting from scarcity mindset, how we even obtain the scarcity mindset and why we have it, into an abundance mindset, because your mindset really creates your reality and creates the possibilities of what you believe you can achieve in your life, because how we think is the identity that we take on, and it then impacts the emotions we feel, the words we speak, the actions we take, which then prophesize our life based off of our beliefs. So if you have a scarcity mindset, or you're struggling with money or relationships or jobs, and you really want to shift out of it, you're ready to drop it, then come join us.
Yeah.
This week's more of a mindset week. Before, it's been a blend of energetic alignment and mindset, but they go hand in hand.
Yeah. So whether you relate to energetic alignment or just the idea of improving your mindset, I've been on a mindset journey my whole life, but as an entrepreneur, we have to. We have to be our best cheerleaders at the end of the day to our own little child that's inside of our heads, and figure out what's going on with that first, so that we can improve and always get better. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do, is just, happy energy of the world, give that out there to everyone, and just learn, and help everyone around us. So please register for this. It's easy. It's a free Zoom every week. We're helping out, and you'll get notifications on it, and you'll get replays as well. So lots of reasons why you'd want to get in here. But yeah, come change your life with us. I learn stuff every week too, from the people, from Monique. I like to learn from everyone that I interact with. If you've got that right mindset where you're not full of yourself all the time, where you're just also open to receiving more and to thinking about things in a higher way, then you'll find lots of knowledge everywhere you go.
Lessons are everywhere.
Everywhere. Love it.
Yeah.
Super cool. So why is this important in life? I'm gonna give them, why would someone want to why would someone need this series, want this series every week, besides the fact that scarcity and that whole fear of that limiting belief that we have this week that we're talking about, that's something that's prevalent in everything that we're doing. And it's always this glass ceiling that we put on ourselves, unfortunately. But why should someone join us for every other week?
The other weeks, because we're energetic and we are surrounded by energy, and we can learn to work with and manipulate our own energy and the energy around us to create a life where we're not constantly stressed out and overwhelmed and burnt out. We are conditioned to believe that life has to be hard. And a lot of us grew up in households where our parents didn't necessarily know how to process their emotions, and emotional intelligence was low. And it's not a bad thing, but it was just a thing that happened. And so now we're a bunch of adults walking around with these inner children inside of us that feel unseen, unheard, unloved, unimportant. And we place ourselves in positions and experiences that mimic how we feel, even though it's not what we want. We all have desires on our heart. It's just some of us believe that those desires are inaccessible based off of the beliefs that we have, which most of our beliefs aren't even ours. And so energetic alignment is, for the more woo people, everything is energy. Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It only manifests in different ways. And we can learn to work with our energy to pull in and attract different experiences into our life. For the more scientific people, it's your nervous system and your subconscious mind. What you believe on a subconscious level, what you've been conditioned to believe throughout your entire life, specifically through the years of 0 to 7, then that is your truth. And you will go on a self-fulfilling prophecy to live out those truths, regardless if they're serving you or not. And then your nervous system, when you think of expanding into more, or having a healthy relationship, or working at a job where you don't hate your boss or your coworkers, that you actually enjoy, your nervous system doesn't feel safe allowing that in, because that's not what you're familiar with. That's not what you're taught. And people think that transformation has to be hard work. And for some people, it is more of a journey. But for others, you just need to hear something like one of the things we say in our videos and things click. And you're like, that's all you needed. And we're here to learn from each other. We are here to grow with each other. We're not meant to live in silos, isolated from different people. We are meant to learn lessons from different people and to take those lessons with us so that we can grow and evolve, and our energy can expand into more alignment with our true energetic alignment, which we get disconnected from via our emotional wounding, our mental health, the isolation that we put ourselves under, the lens that we choose to see the world from based on our previous conditioning. So our desire for this series that we've been doing for a few months is just to help people expand into more. I always call Zach an expander because he's a visionary and he helps people see what's possible in their life that maybe you watching this currently don't believe is possible for you. But I guarantee you, if it's a desire in your heart, it's meant for you to have. It wouldn't be there if it wasn't. And so in our classes, we just talk about how to make that desire more of a reality and less of a wish. And so we have to hop off, but if you would like to join us, we love having you guys live. So if you see this in the 11 o'clock hour, our videos typically last about an hour. Sometimes we go a little over if we're really in it. And if not, then we hope that you sign up. You can get the replay if you sign up, only if you sign up, and you join us next week, because in the calls, we talk about ways to work together and how you can just apply these concepts in your everyday life.
Wow. Wow. You get all that, guys? Yeah. Isn't she a smart cookie? I love that. I love cookies. I love smart women. I love beautiful women.
Cookies.
You're so good. Awesome. Awesome, guys. So we're going to hop off. Come join us, please.
Yeah.
Love to change your life with our lives along with it. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Let me share that to my page.
Right.
We still have a minute before we need to accept anybody.
You're so good. So I have on here too, at one point, God and religion talk, just to give a quick, like, I don't know
How long is this intro, babe? I feel like it gets longer every week.
I know, but I want to go through quickly on it. And that's why, here we go. We'll start and just get into it. Ready?
Let me take a sip of water. Hold on. Wait, hold on. I have to call in my guides real quick. Wait, don't hit it.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. 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 Cool.
All right. All right. All right.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Here we go. Welcome, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Thursday.
Energetic alignment and mindset. Getting in the good feelings for everything.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Woohoo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Here
Melissa.
we go. Real quickly, if you guys haven't been with us before, my name is Zach.
Radio voice. I'm Monique.
This is Monique, my lovely fiance. I'm a real estate investor for 10 years, been on a mindset journey as well, searching for more knowledge. And she is this amazing.
I'm an energy healer and spiritual mentor and intuitive development coach. And I've been doing this for about 6 years. Left my corporate job when I was really, really sick, healed myself through emotional healing and energy work with a couple chronic illnesses. And then healed my body, healed my relationship with food. I was really bad with bulimia for a while. And then I just fell into energy work and changed my life. And now I'm committed to helping other people change theirs.
Love it. Love it. And my part of my why in life is just helping other people.
Yeah.
I love helping other people. I swear, if I had $1 billion, I just would sit here and talk to everyone and help them all day long. So even though I don't yet, I'm going to do that anyway, because let's live in our best selves and we'll attract everything awesome. So yeah, don't worry. We're probably going to go fast. We'll pack a lot in. We want to. There's replays.
Oh my gosh, especially today. We have so much to talk about.
Scarcity.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
It's the opposite. We've got an abundance of scarcity talk, guys. So that's going to be real, real fun. A lot of you have heard this before, but yeah, the whole notion, energy before action. Let's get ourselves cleaned up inside before we go and take some action into the world. Just in case you don't know, many of you have worked with us either in groups or one-on-one, different deals, private lending. I'm in real estate, so those are things I tend to talk about besides mindset, and she does awesome stuff to actually help people out in their personal lives. So one thing to say, we would love to have you guys turn your cameras on, but don't worry. It's not required. We've been in those seats before where we don't necessarily like that for whatever reason, but we just love seeing your energy. You know, it fuels us. You know, it's just one step closer and we freaking love it.
Engage in the chat.
Just
what it's
yeah. Okay. So otherwise, yeah, just engaging in the chat. That is totally great because again, we can feel your energy like that. So yeah, use the chat, type your comments, everything in that. You know, if you're want to type something, if you're ready for us to go, hi, good morning, excited, something, let's go, get and do it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to read what we're trying to talk about every week.
At the end of the call, we will have time for questions. Today, I'm just letting you know, we try to keep these in under an hour, but today we may go over a little bit. If you have to leave at the 12 p.m. Eastern time mark, then leave in an hour. The replay will be sent. If you guys have questions or something is resonating with you as I'm talking or Zach's talking, please use the chat box. We will always come back to it. And
or raise your hand. Feel free to raise your hand.
We'll do that at the end.
You don't want them in between?
No.
Okay.
Not when I'm in a flow of something. Don't want to mess up the flow.
Okay.
And as always, I use the term universe a lot. Universe refers to whatever higher power you resonate with. So please just insert your higher power into that term when I say it, because energy knows no religious boundaries. And so we're all energetic. As always, everything in the universe is energetic. And this is just intended to help you learn how to work with your energy, which is your nervous system, your subconscious mind, in order to better your life. So let's get started. How are you guys?
All right.
And as people join, we'll just add them in. But hello to everybody. So today, last week when we were talking about some manifestation tips, we had lots of people talking about scarcity when some money stuff came up. So wanted to take this week to discuss overcoming that scarcity mindset and shifting into an abundance mindset. So if we have to carry on the actual shifting part into the abundance mindset next week, we totally will. But don't worry, we have a lot written out today that we want to cover. So we're going to get to all of it.
The first step is always self-awareness. So we want to become aware of where we're thinking about scarcity. And then from there, we can take some shifts to get into that abundance type of mindset. And then those shifts and everything, they're going to be an ongoing type of thing that you're going to do every day anyway, because you know, what happens when you start out at anything thing that's new.
Yeah.
You're not great
And
at it.
so some of us will feel scarcity with money. Some of us will feel scarcity with relationships. Some of us will feel scarcity if we're in a relationship and we see all of these eligible people not in relationships. Some of us will feel scarcity with job opportunities. We feel scarcity in many, many areas of our life. And a scarcity mindset is simply a belief system that tells us that resources are limited. And it causes a hyperfixation of sorts. It causes us to take short-term coping mechanism type actions versus long-term solutions. And so what happens is we know we're feeling scarcity when we feel jealous of someone that has something that we want, or we feel very stressed when we think about that thing that we want, or we find ourselves burning ourselves out to try to make what we want happen, or we feel like that hyperfixation or that like tunnel vision of, well, I need to do something quick to make things work out. What does that sound like? That sounds like your nervous system is in a stress response, right? Like I need to fight, flight, or freeze to get this threat out of here, out of my immediate environment. So when we're operating in scarcity mindset, we are actually seeing that which we desire as a threat. And we're seeing the world around us as a threat because our nervous system is being activated in a way that's telling us you're not safe right now. All right. And we'll talk more about that. But this is an issue because it causes us to make decisions from a place that probably doesn't serve us in the long run. Right. And this continues to perpetuate that cycle of there really isn't enough. The world really is against me. I really do always get the short end of the stick. And I want to use, I know I use relationship examples a lot, but it's because we've all had some type of relationship throughout our life. And I know sometimes if you're dating someone at first and you're really interested in them, but it's still really new and you have scarcity around, do they like me? Do they want to be with me? I need to make sure that I lock this in before they meet somebody else. And you end up like obsessively messaging them or obsessively calling them. And what does that do? That pushes them away. Versus if you felt secure, like I'm a catch, I'm a prize. This person is lucky to be with me, to spend time with me. And I know if this doesn't work out, there's always a better relationship that's going to come along because I'm going to take the lessons that I learned from this relationship and apply it forward. You can insert relationship with money, with work, with anything. And so when we think of it like that, are we going to be obsessively texting this person like, hey, haven't heard from me in a while. Hey, is everything good? Hey, why haven't you reached out? Probably not, because we are spending our time enjoying life, going on different dates, talking to different people, feeling confident in how we are showing up. And therefore we take different action. So that's what I mean when I say when we're operating from that scarcity mindset, we take action that really isn't in alignment with our true self. It's really not in alignment with what's best for us long term. But instead, it's that, oh my gosh, something's going wrong. Everything is falling down around me and I need to do some damage control real fast. And if we're constantly living our life like that, we are going to be constantly placing ourselves in those types of situations, thus experiencing that, thus proving to ourselves the world really is a scarce place. There really is not enough resources.
That's so anxiety provoking too. I mean, like, yeah, just thinking about all of that.
Yes.
And even relating back to when I've had those types of thoughts, it's very anxiety provoking. It's just like, oh, I got to get something to happen. And I get all anxious. And then that ends up taking me into like a sadness, depressive type of spiral that can happen from that.
Yep. And then what happens when you're feeling sad and depressed? You're probably, again, you're not going to take appropriate action towards that which you actually desire.
Yep.
And then you're just going to keep that belief system going of there's not enough. The world really is against me. So we can see that scarcity builds more scarcity. Okay. So what we focus on grows. We've talked about this a few times. What we focus on grows. But where does scarcity mindset even come from? So I want you guys to know that it's probably not your fault if you are struggling with a scarcity mindset in one area or multiple areas. It's probably not your fault.
Oh, well, good. Okay.
Yeah,
So whose fault is it then?
it is. I'm glad you asked, babe. So the main culprit of scarcity mindset is conditioning and early childhood experiences. Okay, so the conditioning that we receive from early childhood experiences and or the conditioning that we receive from just being in relationships and hearing the same thing over and over and over again, or being in an environment and hearing the same thing or witnessing the same thing happen over and over and over again. So the conditioning or the early childhood experiences, this can be something like just think about, if you want to put in the chat, please put in the chat, but just think about the conversations that your parents had about money. If you are someone that struggles with scarcity around money, think about the conversations that you remember your parents having about money. And as you guys put those in the chat box, I'll give you another example. Maybe money is not where you have a scarcity issue with, but maybe it's love. So think about, how was love modeled to you when you were a child? Or maybe it's not love or money that you have a scarcity issue with, but it's opportunity, or it's finding a good job that you feel very empowered and relaxed and excited to go to work to every day. Think about how your parents or how your caretakers or how the people you spent the most time with talked about jobs or talked about having opportunities show up in their life. Yeah, Julie, you say there weren't any. The one thing I do recall is that I was told it was none of my business.
Wow. Yeah. None of your business. Yeah. I was going to say, we didn't even talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like there was no saying that it was none of our business. It's just literally, we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Probably because my parents were anxious about that at times. I know that my dad was working his tail off, and I didn't realize until I was older that he was doing it for us. And I just wanted him around, but it was because of that money scarcity.
Yep.
We just wouldn't talk about it.
And so, yeah, Gabby, you're saying, I don't have any, ask your father. Or Matt, you're saying, I always heard there's never enough money, or it's constantly tight. So think about, how has what you witnessed, how has that showed up in your adult life? So if you were in a household where you didn't talk about finances, do you find yourself keeping all your financial conversations to yourself and trying to sift through your money and making it work on your own, and you're suffering in silence?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Or maybe if there wasn't enough money, do you find yourself constantly weighing the differences of, well, I can either get this or I can get this? Or maybe you feel anxious around, I need to get to this certain amount of money and I'm not going to be able to relax until I do. But then when you get to that certain amount of money, you realize, I need to get to the next amount of money and I'm not going to be able to relax until I do, because I need to get somewhere where there's finally enough. There's never going to be enough. Just so you know, spoiler. Or if money was constantly tight, did you find yourself, you either found yourself placing yourself in positions or being in environments where people were talking about how tight money was, or how you just have enough. Like, well, I just got paid today, but now I can go out this weekend. Like, now, because I got paid, now I can go do something. And everything revolves around money. It's like money is the ultimate support. Money is the ultimate permission giver. And none of this is actually true. It's all a perception. Yeah. So Julie says, the one time you asked about money, your dad said it's none of your business. So now then it's like, okay, well, how was your relationship with money then? Do you feel comfortable with having lots of money? If you never learned how to manage money or how to discuss money, how do you feel about a big incoming lump sum of money? Do you're like, oh yeah, of course, this is expected. Or you're like, holy shit. Oh my gosh, now I want to pay off this bill and do this and go do that and get that. And then pretty soon you're like, where did all that money go? Right. So we will constantly continue to play out what we were taught until we become aware that what we're playing out might not even be a story that we wrote. It might be a story that was written for us and just read to us a ton of times until we started dreaming about it. And then it became our reality.
Yep.
So yeah, so think about that first time that you learned there's not enough. For me, I remember always going to the grocery store, like wanting a candy bar. My mom's like, we're not getting a candy bar today. One, you don't need it. And two, we have enough money for these groceries and that's it. So it could be something as simple as that. It could be something as simple as you wanting something and your parents saying like, I don't have the money for it. So you need to figure it out. It actually turned out to be good for you because then you like started your own business at 8 years old.
Yeah. So I wanted a Nintendo and they didn't have the money for it. And I said, well, how do I get it? And they said, well, money. I'm like, okay, well, how do I get money then? So I was just so young that I didn't have all these rooted things inside me to stop myself at that point. So luckily it planted that seed. But I knew that every year, it seemed like we didn't get a lot throughout the year, but come Christmas time, of course, Christmas was one of the biggest things for us because my parents would save up, they would give lots of good things for us. It was this wonderful time of the year, Christmas and birthdays, I suppose. They spoiled us with that. But so now I took those lessons. It's funny how we do exactly what we're taught when we're young, but I do those same things even with my employees. Is I like to spoil them come Christmas time, make them happy because yeah, right, Julie, everything is generational stuff. We take everything we learn, the good and the bad, and we repeat it, and then we teach it to our kids so they can repeat it again.
Yeah. So knowing this, then you can start to conceptualize that maybe it's not my parents' fault that I have these really shitty beliefs, but now it's my responsibility to change them.
Take some ownership.
Because I'm aware of these beliefs. They just thought this is how life is. Because they didn't have the resources that we have today to teach themselves differently, or some of our parents just weren't aware of the resources that were available. But if you're here, you know of resources. So you know that, okay, I know that these beliefs probably aren't mine. And even if I did acquire them, I can change them. And so now it's my responsibility to do that. But one thing that can get in the way of changing them, and this is another component to scarcity mindset, is we attach our worth to how much money we're making. And we can see this through how our parents talked about money and worth around saying, well, they think that they're better than everybody else because they have so much money, implying that I'm less than because I don't have as much. Or, well, we can't wear nice clothes like that, so we can't go to that thing, implying that you're not good enough to go to that thing because the clothes that you're wearing aren't dressy enough or whatever it is. And so we can understand that there is this connection between worth and income that we've been taught, and it's complete and utterly untrue. It's just bullshit. It's untrue because you're worthy because you are. There's no reason why you're worthy. It's just like you don't need to be worthy for gravity to work for you. You don't need to be worthy to have access to clean water. It's just something that gets to happen. Gravity works for us because it does. We all need clean water to live because we do. It's not something that we need to prove. Zach doesn't need to prove to me to be worthy enough to take a big breath of oxygen in. And this is the thing. Money is an energy. The paper form of money is the symbolism that we give the energy. Okay? Just like oxygen is an energy. And then when we breathe it in, oh, I just took a breath. Breath is how we assign a symbolism to oxygen. Would I get mad at Zach if he's sitting here taking big, deep breaths? Like, hey man, you're taking really deep breaths. Like, you mind cooling it for a while? You think you can hold your breath? Like I haven't gotten my share of deep breaths in yet. Just think of how silly that sounds. But this is how we think of money, because this is how we're conditioned to think of money. And we think, and like if Zach's taking big breaths, I don't think, well, he must feel so good about himself. He's taking all these deep breaths. Who does he think he is? And yet that's how we feel, or how we were taught to view other people.
Or we get jealous of these people, and the people that do take breaths will, look down at us. So it's not just our parents that we're picking on, but it is society, and our kids in schools, it's everything around you, the culture, they will do those same things, and you'll compare yourself to other kids, to other people, other grown kids like we are now.
Yes.
And it goes around and around and around. So it's just prevalent all around. But that's funny. You bring it to something as simple as gravity or air or water, when it is exactly the same thing.
Well, and this is the thing, is that those fears, that scarcity fear that there's not enough, it will continue to be a fear until we realize how ridiculous it actually is. Because if you believe in a higher power, then you believe that that higher power knows what it's doing, right? It created the entire world. It knows what it's doing. Okay. So why would it put you here if you weren't meant to have what you want? Why would it put you here if there wasn't enough for you? Why would it put you here just so you could struggle through your entire life? It's not nature's natural way to struggle. Yeah, we have moments of struggle, but we're not meant to live in the energy of struggle constantly. And yet we do. We punish ourselves mostly because of these belief systems that we hold, but now they're not even yours. So actually, an exercise that you can do after this class, if this is still really ringing true for you, write down all the limiting beliefs that you've ever heard about money and just notice how they feel in your body. We're going to do part of this exercise actually in this class today, but just notice how they feel. They probably don't feel good. Anything that feels contracting in your body is not your truth. It's not your ultimate truth. That is a rule of thumb. Anything that feels contracting in your body is not your ultimate truth. If you're spending time with someone and every time you spend time with them, your chest tightens up, you're probably not benefiting yourself spending time with that person. If you are doing something and you go into a job and every time you walk into the building, you feel sick and your stomach becomes in knots, probably know that job's not the best job for you in the long run.
And we're used to feeling those things out. We notice them in the moment, but then we'll be quick to forget them.
With our thoughts, like, well, this is what I have to do.
Yeah.
This is just what needs to get done because that's what we were modeled. But it doesn't mean that it's good for you. We can all stay in I stayed in a toxic relationship for 4 years. I knew that it wasn't good for me, but I still stayed there. And so we can continue to struggle throughout life and with money, thinking that there's not enough and feeling like we have to prove ourselves and that we're not good enough until we have a certain amount of zeros in our bank account. And yet, why? We're just punishing ourselves until we get there. And remember, the energy that we focus on creates more of that energy. So we're just creating more struggle and punishment. And this is the next reason of why scarcity mindset shows up in the first place, because what are you focusing on? What are you focusing on? What do you see in your environment? Do you focus on everything that you do have or everything that you don't yet have? And notice how I said, don't yet have.
Yeah.
Because we never want to tell ourselves, I don't have that, or that's not for me. We want to say yet, because that allows that little bit of room for possibility. It tells our subconscious mind, yet, that means it's still a possibility versus just flat out cutting off any single opportunity that we have for it. But yeah, what are you focusing on? What kind of conversations are you having? What types of places are you dwelling in? Are you constantly in conversations that are reminding you how little there is to go around, how much struggle there is in the world, how hard it is to come by a buck, that money doesn't grow on trees, that the big man wants to fuck everybody, that you're separate, you're different than the people that get to make good money, that they just were born into it or they screwed somebody over and that's why they're there. What kind of conversations are you participating in? What kind of experiences are you witnessing in your environment? What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on everything that you don't have yet? Again, or are you focusing on what you do have and multiplying that. We'll talk about that later. Because Danielle, you say you still feel stuck when thinking about homelessness, famine, and the likes. Why? Why? Because you have a heart. Because we're empathic. We're all empathic creatures, and we care about the well-being of others. But no amount of you being in poverty will help the homelessness and those struggling with food. You can't be so unhappy that you help other people get happy. You can't be so lonely that you help other people be in love. You can't be so poor that you help other people live in wealth. You having money doesn't mean that other people are not going to have it. There's no pie in the sky. But you struggling sure as heck doesn't mean that other people are going to have abundance.
So interesting. I was having a similar conversation yesterday with someone, and just, I'm not as driven by money to start out. I'm just not. I'm more driven just to help people. Like, I feel better just helping people. Like I said in the start of this call, like if I had $1 billion, I'd still be doing these things with you guys here today, because this fills us up. It makes us feel wonderful. And who knows, like, I say something to you guys, she says something to you guys, or even someone that's not here hears this, it affects their day, it affects someone in their life, they're able to make a different change that can affect other people that they're around throughout the day, even in a checkout line that they're around, that affects their life. It's like that ripple effect, you never know. And so thinking about all of those positive effects, that gives me this abundance of help that we are giving just by showing up here today and talking to you guys about that. To me, that's absolutely wonderful. But money in and of itself, no. But also, if I had tons of money, what would I end up doing with it? I would end up helping a whole bunch of people at the end of the day. And so just like to your point, Danielle, man, yeah, you want to help out more people with homelessness, famine, the likes, whatever thing gets you really excited at the end of the day,
to do that.
Donate to them. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was on this call. We were talking about this guy in upstate New York that donated all this money to Strong Hospital, this entire wing that just helps these people. And that wing ended up helping him and his young daughter at, oh my gosh, to a disease that they couldn't get answers to anywhere else, but they ended up finding it at this emergency room that just rushed them right up to this hospital that was donated by this guy, this billionaire. Holy smokes. And so they got the treatment they need. It showed up at exactly the right time for them, for someone that just did good into the world. That fills me up. That makes me more excited to attract more money towards me, because it's not for me at the end of the day. It's for the world.
But it can still be for you. And that's another reason why we live in scarcity mindset, is because we've heard stories that people who have money are bad people, or they did something bad to get that money. And that's not inherently true. There are bad people that have money. There are good people that have money. Money is an amplifier. It amplifies who you already are as a person. For some people, will it transform them? Yes, but that's not the case for everyone. So look for the truth. And are there good people that have money? Yes, there is. There are plenty of good people that have money. Look for those people that have money and remind yourself there are good people that have money. Money is an amplifier. And so money in your hands, if you're here, I imagine you're a person that has good intentions. So money in your hands is a good thing. If anybody should have money, it should be the people in this group, because everybody here wants to help other people.
Yep.
And you can't do that if you yourself are struggling, because you're focused on just getting through your day. And then by the end of the day, you're so exhausted. How are you supposed to extend resources to others? Money makes things easier so you can do things that fulfill your heart, like helping with homelessness and famine, helping family members, helping friends, helping a charity that you really believe in. Just remember, it's an amplifier, but then you have to ask, what type of person do I believe myself to be? Because if you believe yourself to be a bad person, then you might repel money, afraid that it's going to amplify more of that. So that's just a self-reflective question. I don't think anyone here is a bad person. And Julie, you made a comment of how your husband is averse to debt. Debt is not a bad thing. How we view debt can be a bad thing, and thus how we use debt can be an unhelpful thing, but it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Debt is leverage. And can we be grateful for the debt that we've acquired because of what it has allowed us to purchase, what it has allowed us to experience, what it has allowed us to grow into and evolve into? Can we shift the dynamic we have with debt? And instead of feeling repulsed by it and sick to our stomach because we feel like a failure because we haven't paid it off yet, can we look at it and say, wow, I'm so grateful that this bank or this person lent me money because they trusted me that I was going to pay this back. And I'm going to prove to them that I am a good, trustworthy person. And I'm going to pay this back. And wow, I'm so grateful that this money allowed me to have this experience because I learned this, this, and this from this experience. It helped me evolve into this type of person because of this experience. Just feel the difference. And seeing debt through that perspective or seeing debt through like, fuck, still haven't paid this off. This is just, I just keep getting more and more debt. Because then you are putting that energy out there, and that's what you're going to amplify more of. So just shifting that conversation around debt, that can be a totally different conversation that we have, but it's just shifting that perspective around debt to one of gratitude for what it allowed you to do. Okay. So the next thing after the identification of money makes me a bad person or only bad people have money, the next and final thing that I have for what can relate to scarcity mindset is having some type of shock trauma happen. And you just haven't fully processed that trauma. Like maybe your parent lost a job, or maybe you lost a job, or something came up like a health issue or a car issue, and you had to spit out a very large sum of money. And you learned that money can be taken away at any time. So what's the point? If I have money, it's just going to get taken away. If I have money, something's just going to come up. But this is actually a result of the belief systems you hold around money. Okay? Because if we believe that there's never enough, then when we get more than enough, we will manifest something happening that then confirms our belief that there's never enough.
And we'll focus on that, and yeah, it'll confirm it.
We'll take some type of action, or we will do something unconsciously that leads us into the situation of, crap, I barely have enough to cover this. Thus reconfirming that belief of there is never enough. This is why the mindset work is so important, as well as the strategy, as well as taking that action. Because when we say to ourselves, or when we have that belief system, and how do you know what your belief system is? Just look at your current reality. Look at your current reality. Notice what your relationship is right now with money. Are you in a codependent relationship with money? Like when it comes in, you get really, really excited, but when it starts to leave, you get really mad. Are you in a feast or famine relationship with money? Like when a bunch comes in, it's like, oh yay, and you spend until you are in famine again? Or do you have a secure relationship with money? Do you have a relationship where you're constantly chasing it? So you know what your belief systems are based off of the current dynamic with you and money. Are you attaching your worth to it? And if you feel unworthy, then you can't earn money, and you constantly are feeling unworthy because money's not coming in. So it's just reconfirming that emotional experience. So these are all just some things that you can reflect on. And just know that scarcity mindset is all just, it boils down to belief systems and fears around money from lack of understanding about the core nature of money, which is that it's just energy. It's just energy. It's a currency. It's an exchange. You guys are exchanging time. We're exchanging information. This is an exchange. Money is no different. We just have paper that we use to symbolize it. Time has a clock that's used to symbolize it. You just paid 35 minutes to be here. It's the same thing. It's just we put it on a pedestal. And when we pedestal it, we separate ourselves from it, from money. And we think that it's too good for me. again, attaching our worth to it. Let me know if that's making sense.
And Luke, what is this TBI? I assume it's something like a KPI or something like that, but just for clarity and conversation's sake.
Oh, if you need to talk about leveraging debt, talk to Zach.
Yeah. Well, I was actually very impressed how you were talking about it. And I was curious to see it through your eyes too, because I mean, yeah, of course I could talk about the benefits of debt and
Traumatic brain injury
and everything.
Emotional traumatic brain injury. Interesting. Took me a long time to see it through that lens. Money's an amplifier. Yep. Andrea, Danielle, money's an amplifier. Yep.
Yeah, I took note of that too on a little sticky, as she said, money was an amplifier, just because I want to just put something on my wall that will always remind me, because I'm the type of person that needs to have that constant reminder every day, because I'm doing all these different things. I'll get distracted, and it allows your subconscious to work. And so those little limiting beliefs and everything will crop up into your mind. And so if I have something that's absolutely blatant on my wall, it can help reset me, just like exercise and running will. If I see that on my wall, I'm like, okay, reset. That's right. Remember that thing. And then my subconscious will even get to the point where it knows it's on the wall. I don't even have to look at it anymore. But every time I have that repetition of seeing it, of thinking about it, it's one more time that it's driving it into my brain. Remember, the thing that gets us through towards a new belief is through intensity or repetition.
Yeah,
and so let's get both of those things and just, put in the forefront of our mind and in our visual field, those things that we want and those changes that we want to make. So not only affirmations in the morning, different things that we're learning throughout the day, but have little reminders everywhere. That's why people put the pictures of their loved ones, either in their car as they're driving. I have some here on my computer next to it. So it is top of mind.
Like, remind you of why you're doing what you're doing, like where you're going. Tell the story of where you're going, not where you've been or where you currently are.
Yeah.
Where you currently are. Yeah.
Lean into that future and live it right now.
Yeah. And so if something does happen, like a traumatic injury or like something with your body, then that's an invitation for you to identify with that, or say, okay, I'm going to take this, learn from it, and use this to make me even better. So something with unexpected events that can happen, whether it takes money from us, takes time from us, takes health from us, we can always see it from multiple perspectives. But for some reason, the perspective of scarcity is the easiest to turn to. This is for a couple of reasons. One, because again, it's conditioned. Two, it's what people have constantly, it's what we've seen modeled. And three, because fear is a very powerful emotion. And a lot of it is just pumped into the world through media, through people sharing things. It's how people tend to relate more, through what they're struggling with, through what they're scared of, because the emotion is so powerful. It creates such an intense experience in the body. Then it creates more of a bonding experience with other people. So it's a very easy energy to get like locked into and to like plug into. So if there was a big plug, and people just think of a big plug, and like, if there's billions of people plugged into the energy of fear, then that plug's going to have a ton of spots open for you to plug into it, versus like love, which has a littler plug because less people are plugging into it on a regular basis. And that energy isn't amplified. So it's like the speaker is getting louder and louder and louder. So you're going to be able to hear it from miles and miles and miles away versus feet away. So just know that energetically there is a constant opportunity for us to recalibrate out of fear into an energy of gratitude, of hope, of appreciation. And the more that we do that, the easier it is. But until we take initiative, and it takes effort at first, because so many people around us are just conditioned to default into fear and scarcity. But you can do it. It's possible. And like keeping notes and reminders around common places that you dwell are a wonderful example of that. And Andrew, you said I never put money on a pedestal, but looked at it more like evil. So you're putting it on a negative pedestal. Like, I want to stay as far away from that as possible, because it's like you're putting it on a pedestal of just something that you never want to achieve. So then if we see ourselves, the point is when we put it on a pedestal, whether it's a positive or a negative one, we separate ourselves from it. And if we separate ourselves from it, we create more of that energy of separation. And if we're in that energy of separation, we can never become one with. Okay, because we will always do things to keep ourselves separate from it, because we either don't feel worthy enough for it, or we don't want to become a bad person. We don't want to be an evil person. So whatever the reason is, it matters to you specifically, so you can work through it. But ultimately, it doesn't matter what that reason is. It just matters that you are in separation from what it is that you want. Like people who have been hurt and they close off their heart from relationships, although they really want relationships. So we have an incongruency with our actual desire and with what we are subconsciously allowing to play out in our life. So, oh, you're so welcome, Andrea. So are we doomed to a scarcity mindset forever? No, absolutely not. However, it will continue to pop in and out of your life for the rest of your life, probably, because,
Yeah.
because I don't want you guys to fear scarcity mindset. I want you to see it as, oh, awesome, another lesson I can learn, or another opportunity for me to grow into more, another opportunity to raise that glass ceiling, right? So I'm just making the ceiling higher and higher and higher. This is because when we move into something new or the unknown, what happens? We feel fearful of the unknown. This is just something that happens. It's with our primal brain. We feel fearful of the unknown. So this is why we do practices like visualization, meditations, affirmations, because we are familiarizing the unknown. Okay. So that when we begin to move into it, it doesn't feel so scary. But we feel fear. Fear is associated with scarcity. Well, what if it doesn't work out? Well, what if there's not enough? Well, what if I fail? So it's not a bad thing that scarcity shows up. It's an opportunity to grow and evolve into more, to raise that glass ceiling, to prove to yourself, I can explore past the edge of my comfort zone, because I've already proven to myself that there is more than enough. Look around in your life that we have so much, but we don't focus on what we have. We focus on what we don't yet have. Therefore, that's what we see, what we don't yet have.
It's so funny. So you just listen to the word failure. I failed. I tried this and I failed. In that sentence, you don't hear that you tried, you hear that you failed at the end of the day. What if society and the people around us taught us that trying was the great thing? And so failure meant that you tried something.
Yeah.
Gosh, and you probably tried something you weren't so great at, right? So there's many times you hear failing forward, but regardless, you're still saying fail. And it's just that word, I hear it and it's, I can't get over that thought pattern. So I want to try and recondition myself to just think about trying and just focusing on what has happened already and what I am doing now. And I'm trying and it's a little bit better. And then it makes it wonderful. And then you can ask people, hey, how many times have you tried something today? Not how many times have you failed or like how many good things have happened. Just reward people for trying. And then you're going to be around a whole bunch of people that are trying and that reward you for trying. And then it makes anything seem possible, because when you try something, you start from nothing, right? Or from some space of lacking or some inexperience, but you are now making success because you have tried. And guess what happens when you try enough? You get better at it.
And you are going to become successful.
You will.
It's just so many people give up before they get there.
For a litany of reasons, so many different reasons. But yeah, just rewarding people for trying. Yes, one step closer, 1% better. Not even accepting the failure, not even saying the whole fail forward. Okay, that's fine. But again, we're looking backwards. We're facing the word failure. It's like, well, let's not have failure. Let's just reward trying. That's what Jesse Itzler does with his kids is he doesn't reward them for certain things. He rewards them for their effort that they put into it. Oh, well, I wish that'd be sad to say. I wish he was my parents or dad. That's not nice to my parents. I love my parents so much. I'm so grateful to them. But like, just, that's something that I would want to instill in my kids. Absolutely. Along with the good things that my parents have taught me, but just, yeah, reward the effort, reward the trying and the consistency and all those good behaviors.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And so you can recondition yourself to celebrate when you try something new, celebrate when you move out of your comfort zone, celebrate when you invest in something, even though it feels scary, but everything inside of you is saying, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Celebrate when you take that bold, scary action because you're excited for what's on the other side. And just remember that the more you celebrate, you are bound to create more of that energy, right? What we focus on begets more of what we focus on. So if we're focusing on celebration, then we will find ourselves in situations where we get to celebrate more. Okay. And so how do we begin to shift our scarcity mindset into more of an abundant one? We have to address the nervous system. Okay. When our energy is contracted, when our body is all like folded up and tense, and we're feeling like very stressed and overwhelmed, that is a sign that your nervous system is just highly, highly activated, and it's been activated for a very long time. The more tense you feel, the more low energy you feel, the more depressed you feel, the more anxious you feel, the more disassociated you feel, the more ill you feel. These are all signs that our nervous system is just activated. So what we want to do is, one, notice when you're in a state of scarcity, when you're freaking out about bills or the next income check or whatever it is. Notice how that feels in your body. Heart starts to beat really fast. Chest becomes tight. Stomach gets up in knots. You might start rubbing your head because your head starts hurting or you feel pressurized. All of these are similar to when your nervous system is activated. Your nervous system is activated when there is a threat or danger. So we have to teach ourselves bills are not a threat or danger. We have to teach ourselves that maybe if we don't make money in 1 week, it's not a threat or a danger. It just means that, oh, wow, now I get to have more money come in the next week. And so we have to shift the story that we tell ourselves, because we cannot create wealth from a stress response. We cannot create wealth from scarcity, because that will just create more of that. So we have to recalibrate our nervous system to feel safe. So how do we do this? The first way that you can do this is just begin by objectively looking at your beliefs. So what are the beliefs that you have around money or love or opportunities? What are the beliefs that you have around that current thing in your life that's not really working out the way you'd hope that it would by now? And then how can you look at those beliefs? We're going to shelf those for now. And then, so you can do this exercise after this call, but how can you then see that thing that you want as safe? Because if you don't have it yet, a part of you doesn't feel safe having it. So we have to connect to that part of us that doesn't feel fully safe having it. Why doesn't this part of me feel safe? Is it because it's afraid of the person that I'm going to become once I achieve this thing? Is it because it's afraid of the people that I'm going to have to stop spending as much time with once I achieve this thing? Is it because I'm afraid of the conversations I'm going to have once I achieve this thing? Is it because I'm afraid that I won't be able to maintain it once I achieve this thing? What is the fear there? And then how can we remind ourselves that there's no proof that any of this is going to happen? And even if it does, I'll be fine. I will be fine, because the people in my life that truly love me, they're going to support me regardless. And the people that don't, then they're not meant to be in that part of the journey of my life. And this is just going to amplify who I already am. And I know who I am. I'm very grounded in the belief of who I am. And so it's just reminding yourself that this is safe to move into, because if the body perceives it as a threat, then all of these limiting beliefs are going to pop up and you will halt yourself from moving into it and anything that's new. Even if you are currently miserable, your body knows that it is safe in the misery. It knows that it can operate in the misery. It knows that it is surviving in the misery. And all of those sensations feel familiar. And because they feel familiar, this is what your body has associated as its baseline of operation. So if we want to change that, we have to show ourselves this way of working is not working anymore. Because at one point in time, this baseline of operation was keeping you safe. Maybe when you were 8, maybe when you were 12, maybe when you were 22. But if it is prohibiting you from moving forward into something that you want, it's no longer of benefit to you. It was at one point in time, but it's no longer benefiting you.
And so also, I'm thinking about, I'm playing along here with you guys and thinking about my experiences and things that I'm fearful of, moving forward. I'm like, well, what if this bad thing will happen again because it has happened in the past, something like that from a previous self. Mm-hmm. So, but what Monique reminded me of just the other day is, this happened to me in the past. Again, this doesn't mean this is going to happen in the future. And now I'm more aware of what happened in the past. So I'm a different person than I was the first time around. Yes. And since I'm a different person, then wouldn't it also make logical sense that I could take new actions, different awareness to attract new things towards myself so that those previous bad experiences won't happen again? So feel safe in that moment, in that they won't necessarily happen. And I'm just writing this stupid story just because this is what's happened before. And, we talk about this, we teach this and this, that you attract those things right back towards you. But remember, you're not the same person as who you were back then. So think about all the ways that you're different and focus on all the different ways of how to change that situation in the future. And so then you're putting the energy towards that new experience, and you're living in that new experience as opposed to that previously tarnished experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Zach actually is going to lead us into the next part of this point, is that one of my favorite questions to ask myself when I know that fear or scarcity is preventing me from moving forward is this fear actually true? Is it the 100% truth? And if you can't say yes, it's 100% absolutely true, then it's false. Like going back to Zach's example, can he 100% without a doubt predict that what he experienced in the past, he will experience again?
No.
Exactly. So it's untrue. So now that we know that most of our fears are untrue, or most of these limiting beliefs are untrue, then we can start to look for the truth of what we want to prove to ourselves.
Oh my gosh. It's like a cannonball shooting through a giant stone wall. You make one little break in it, no, it's not 100% a stone wall. I can see light on the other side of it. So you're like, okay, let me keep shooting this cannon at that wall. And then eventually there will be no wall, right?
Yes.
Wow.
And so what do? We begin to look for examples of what we want to be true, of the desired result. So for an example, when I was very single, like 2.5 years ago, I was very, very single. And I was looking for someone like Zach that had his qualities, but I didn't think that I would find anybody in the immediate surrounding area that I live in. But I was wrong. So I would go online and I would look for men to prove to myself there's an abundance of men that have these qualities that are available. So I had to prove to my mind that this was true. And then I would go and I'd look at Sarah Blakely, the creator of Spanx. She didn't get married till she was 37. I was 29 at the time. I'm like, I have plenty of time to find a relationship. She didn't get married till she was 37. Her husband was 40. And so there's always examples. All you need to do is find one. You need to just find one example of what you want being true, and find it from someone. Maybe you're someone who your family immigrated here and you want proof that immigrants can be successful. So you go and you look up successful immigrants and you see that there are tons of Google pages of successful immigrants proving to you that you can be successful. This can be your story too. Or maybe you quit your job and you want to find proof of someone finding success later in life. Or maybe you didn't go to college and you want to find proof of someone who's successful financially who didn't go to college. We have the internet. It's a wonderful thing. So use it to your advantage and prove to yourself the stories that you want to be true. Because if it can happen to someone else, it can happen to you. But the thing that we want to keep an eye out for is if we get jealous when we see that, or if we say, well, yeah, it's easy for them. Well, they were in your shoes once too, and they got to where they are. They weren't born as the creator of Spanx. They weren't born as the author of Harry Potter. They were once in our shoes too. So find the proof and focus on that proof and remind yourself, this is true. This can be my truth. Out of infinite possibilities, align yourself with the truth that you want to be true for you. And you know that it's a truth for you because it would feel expansive in your body. And if your belief of what you desire feels tight or constricted or like, oh, I don't really know if that's possible, reframe the belief of what you desire. Like maybe you don't have any houses right now and you want to own like 50 doors. And you're like, okay, I want 50 front doors by 2024. But you're like, oh my gosh, that feels so overwhelming. It feels really scary. Okay, well, maybe I'm in the process of purchasing 50 doors. Because you're telling the story of what is, and you're telling it as if you are that person. I'm in the process of purchasing 50 front doors. I am in the process of building a 6-figure business. I am in the process of building a 7-figure business. I am in the process of becoming this person, of having this business, of living this life experience. You are aligning your energy to the desired outcome. You are no longer separate from it, but you are together with it. Do you notice the difference from saying, well, yeah, that must be nice. I wish that I could have that, to I'm in the process of having that?
Once you're in that process, then so many different things will show up for you. And you'll find, like Monique was saying, you'll find those examples of people that have been there before you.
Yeah, they'll start popping like popcorn.
And I mean, even just to that specific example, 50 doors. I mean, I've coached people through that idea. Sure, you can go and you can get one door at a time and you could spend 6 months renovating it. Gosh, even longer if you do it yourself. Oh, sweat equity is great, right? Not always, because you could also take it from a bigger aspect. And why don't we just buy 50 doors all at once in one transaction? So instead of the whole year grinding 50 all over the place, single, blah, 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 so difficult, let's just buy that from someone who already has them all fixed up. Have that belief that there's people out there like that, because there are.
Seek that out. Seek out the people that have accomplished what you want to accomplish and look at them as, if they can do it, it's possible for me. There is a road to that destination.
And ask that question, not can you or can't you, but how many ways can you get there? And you'll find more opportunities within that. And you'll be aligning yourself in that future. And it'll be so much more positive, so much happier, easier along the way. And you'll find your tribe that believes that that's possible, but also knows that that's possible, not just a belief.
Yes.
Super fun.
Yes. And I just want to respect you guys' time. I know it's almost noon. I just want to get through a couple more points of shifting into the abundance mindset. But if you have to go, then we thank you for being here. But let's just bust through these real quick. So the second one is accepting where you're at. We cannot change what we first don't accept. So if we're constantly in denial of our current reality, then we're never going to get out of our current reality, because our subconscious is always going to remind ourselves like, yo, this is where you're at. This is the truth that you're living right now. So once we accept that, then our subconscious stops fighting with us. And we just accept like, okay, this is where I'm at. Now, what can I do about it? We take our power back when we just accept that things are what they are, even if they are undesirable. Because if we are in constant state of denial, we're never going to do anything to change it, because we're not even accepting that it is an issue, it meaning our reality. So accept where you're at currently and find things in your current reality to be grateful for. Because when you have that abundance mindset, how's it going to feel? Free, easeful, empowering. You might feel more confident. You might think you'll feel more confident. You might feel, what are some other adjectives, babe?
Just awesome. I like that calming, that relaxed
Peaceful,
state,
yeah.
you know, that I can do whatever I want.
Yes.
At
Yeah.
that point, I
Like
can
your
help
nervous
other
system is
people,
relaxed.
you know, go back to your why, whatever your why is in life. And that becomes so much more achievable, so more,
Yeah.
much more tangible right in front of you, because you don't have all this chaos that's going on in your mind
Yes.
around it.
And so take those and practice focusing on those now. So maybe you don't have that dollar amount, but yet you have clean water, you have a bed that you purchase, you have a house that you're living in, you have clothes that you wear every day, you have food, an abundance of food in your fridge. It's like, wow, there is so much to be grateful for today that we just so overlook so easily. So when that's all we have to focus on being grateful for, use it to your advantage and focus on that. I always tell Zach how grateful I am for him, and I go into like my little love wave things, and because it feels so good in my body that it aligns me to how I believe achieving my goals will make me feel. So when what we focus on creates more of that. So if we want to shift from a state of scarcity where we're in constant stress response, constant anxiety, overwhelm, burnout, to a state of overflow, we have to first realize everything in our life that can help us create that state of overflow. And that's just a perspective shift.
That's easy.
Yes, because it's
doesn't
practice.
It doesn't cost anything.
And it does.
It's accessible.
Practice, but it is. It's just like waking up like, wow, I got to wake up without an alarm clock. Or wow, I woke up with an alarm clock. So many people don't even have alarm clocks. I have clean water. Whatever it is, there's so much to be grateful for. And if you're lacking things to be grateful for, look to nature. And this is the final point. Your environment, focus on your environment. Is it conducive to the growth that you desire? And then actually pay attention to your environment. Nature is naturally abundant. Nature doesn't worry if spring will ever come. Nature doesn't worry when fall starts to come and the leaves start falling and the trees grow bare and the flowers die. Nature does not worry ever if it will reproduce. It just does, because that's what it expects it's going to happen. You are a part of nature. You are a part of nature. Nature is naturally abundant. Look to nature for that proof of abundance if you're having a hard time finding it in your everyday life. But shifting into overflow, then we can take action from overflow. So if you can only help, maybe helping people is your why. So instead of helping them financially, you help them with time. You help them with resources to your own boundaries. You're not overextending yourself. You're doing it in a respectable way to yourself, but you are proving to yourself there is more than enough. How can I prove to myself I have more than enough right now? Okay. So I know that sounds very simple, but it is a practice. And these are some things that I would like you guys to just focus on this week. Just be aware of this week. How can you shift into a state of overflow this week? From scarcity to overflow. What is currently in your life? If you have a phone or a computer right now that you're watching this, you have enough.
Fair.
So if you're someone that's constantly telling a story of like, oh, I don't have enough money or I need more money, you have a phone or computer. You have more than 80% of the world. Not saying that that's not means to want more. We always want more. We are programmed to desire more. But desiring more shouldn't make us feel like shit. It should make us feel excited for what is to come. But if we're constantly comparing ourselves to where we're currently at to what we want, and the void, the gap that's between where we're at and what we want, we're going to find ourselves separated from that desire. But when we understand that I'm wired to always want more, but how can I first appreciate and celebrate everything that I already have, everything I've already created in my life? That energetically zaps the gap, it shortens the void, and it aligns you with your desire, because everything is emotional first. Remember, our emotions move through our heart. Our heart is the strongest magnetic field in our body. Everything is responding to us. Okay.
So part of my practice I like to do that I hadn't really done in years previous is just gratitude in the morning. Part of my routine is to actually write down things I'm grateful for. And I keep a little journal of that now. Yeah, absolutely. Gratitude is fab. And so, and it's funny because every morning I think about it and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go write some things down. And it doesn't take me but, a couple minutes, whatever comes to mind. But then I'm like, I just feel, at first I thought I'm just writing the same darn things all the time. Like, here's all the people in my life I'm so grateful for. And then it's like, okay, it transitions into some other things, but it always comes back to people for me. So then intentionally throughout the week, I will use a different color in my little journal, and I'll think of something different. So instead of people, I'll think of my body parts. I'm so grateful for that they all work, things around me, things in nature that are around me. Like, how many different topics can you think of that you can be grateful for? Because then you're in an abundance of gratitude. It's not even just the same things. And so it makes my life happy every morning. It's a good.
And sorry, babe.
No, that's good.
And one thing is to make it an experience. When you're drinking, if you're a coffee drinker, feel so grateful for that, especially if you live somewhere where it's cold, with that warm cup in your hand. Smell the coffee, bring it in, invite other senses. Be so grateful for that first sip. Imagine yourself standing in the house that you want, or knowing that you just opened your eyes and you saw your bank account and it's the numbers that you want, and close your eyes. And as you sip that coffee and you feel so grateful, create a vision with it. Make it an experience. When we can find magic in the mundane, this is when we really invite our emotional energy into an overdrive. And that's when we really lock in that future desired result, because we are creating an experience with everything that we do. And so if you can create an experience, like when you step in the shower, feeling that warm water, like, oh, this water feels so good on my body. I'm so grateful for this experience right now. When you hug a loved one, just feeling their body and their warmth against you, like, wow, I'm so grateful for this. Like, I can't wait. Like, I know with Zach, I always imagine, like, I can't wait for when we're hugging, like on a balcony that's overlooking the beach. And I just get so excited for these things, but I'm excited for the future in the moment right now. So you can be excited for the future, but be excited in the moment right now, and be excited for the future, not from a place of like jealousy or worry or hurry, but from a place of, wow, this moment is so great. And when that next moment comes, it's going to be magical too. But this moment is so magical as well. That's how we shift into that state of overflow. And it's a practice. Yeah, we don't want to be desperate for that future to come, because then that desperate is that clingy energy. It's that codependency, and codependency is a repellent. And so when we can prove to ourselves, I'm good right now. And oh my gosh, this coffee is so good. And oh my gosh, this breakfast is so good. And oh my gosh, the sunlight is so wonderful. And I'm so excited when I can have coffee, have breakfast, experience sunlight in that place that I see myself in, or with that number showing up on my bank account when I check and open up my laptop, or having that email come through of, yeah, deal signed. What's next? So use the current experience to then project it into the future from a place of overflow, because we're already doing that from a place of scarcity. We're already really good at that. We feel the tightness in the current experience and we're like, fuck. And then we look to the future and we're like, well, that's not going to work out. And that's not going to work out. We're already doing that. Let's do the same thing on the reverse. Okay. So that's something to practice this week.
Love it.
I do want to go through a quick exercise real quick. Even if just people watch the replay
Sure.
or if you guys have to hop off, come back and do the replay because this will be a really powerful exercise. If you
Cool.
can't do it right now, just do it later. But just go ahead. This exercise will take less than 5 minutes and then
Awesome.
we will be done. Okay. So I thank you guys for hanging out. So let's just close our eyes. We'll take a nice big breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I just want you to focus on a limiting belief or a fear that you have around money. Just bring it to your mind. Maybe there's not enough. Maybe I don't know where it's going to come from. I don't know how I'm going to make that next dollar. I don't want to label it for you, just giving some examples. Maybe it's something that you heard when you were a kid. And as you focus on that fear, I want you to notice the experience that your body is having. So if this fear lived in your body, where would it be? Maybe when you think that belief, you feel your throat tighten or your chest close up or your stomach get into knots or even your right hip starts aching or your neck feels heavy. And just notice if you're having a hard time recognizing where it's at in your body, just ask, if this lived in my body, where would it be? And just see what pops up first thing, even if it doesn't quite make sense. And as you connect with that fear in that part of your body, just notice, is there a memory here? Does the fear have a message for you? Maybe there's an emotion that's connected to the fear. Maybe when you tune into this part of your body, you feel really sad or scared, or you remember something that happened. What is this fear telling you? And we're just noticing this because this is what our body is trying to tell us through this fear. So once you have this message, if you don't, then you can come back and do this exercise later, no worries. But once you have this message, or even if you don't, we'll just go ahead and just thank your body for showing you, thank this fear for showing you, and ask, what do you need to feel safe? What does this part of me need to feel safe? And just see what comes up. You might hear something like trust. You might hear something like take action. You might see yourself going for a walk. You might feel like you want to lay down. You might have a younger version of you pop up that wants your attention. But whatever you need to feel safe, just put that on the shelf in your mind and do that for yourself today. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then ask yourself this question. If I knew I was always supported and things were always working out for me, what would be the next action step that I take? Or how would I move forward in this situation with this belief? And again, just first thing that comes to mind. And then take that action and do that thing. Make a commitment to yourself to do that thing. So that was just a very quick exercise. You can do this on your own and shorten it a little bit. But always, 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 fear, emotions, they live in the body. So we want to identify them. What do they want? We want to know that those parts of us just want to feel safe. How can we help them feel safe? And then from there, tune into that thing that you do want. And if you knew you were always supported and things were going to work out for you, eventually they're going to work out. What would you do next? What action would you take that maybe that fear has prevented you from seeing clearly? This exercise is a really, really, really wonderful way to move out of scarcity, to move into trust, and to take that bold action. And that's all I have for today.
Well, I'm over here doing this exercise myself, guys, with yours, and I'm writing down what I should be doing. And yeah, did you guys enjoy this today? I hope you did. You know, she's such a smart cookie. I would marry her every day. So yeah, I love it. We love helping you guys out. Hope you got some wonderful things from that.
Yeah.
We're always going to be giving more and more and more. So you can expect that from us. We've got so many things. So thinking about a scarcity of topics and things to teach you guys, we do not have that. Okay. We have an abundance. And that's even before we go back and try and do it the second time round, because we all need to have a little bit more of repetition on everything and to show up. That's right. Times two. Yeah. And that's why we're going to have replays for everybody. We want to share, give love out into the world, please.
Shane, I'm so happy that you're able to tune into your body. Yay. I love connecting people with their body, because our body is like the number one oracle. So when we can learn to use our body and our body's energy systems, we can learn how to align to our highest path. And this is what I do with all of my clients. And this is what I teach with my one-on-one work. And I'm so passionate about it. So thank you for letting me share this exercise with you guys, and for doing it, for actually doing it and taking the time to go through it, because it is so freaking powerful. All of the answers that we seek, the mysteries that we think are just existing around us, those answers are all within us. They're all within us. It's just, we've learned to disconnect from our body so much that when we just practice connecting a little bit, and we bring that safety back and we come back into wholeness, so many amazing things happen. And I'm just so passionate for it. I'm so passionate about it. So thank you for letting me share.
Rihanna, I'm so glad that you look forward to the Thursday mornings. Shane, I'm so glad that you can connect with your body, man, because absolutely. Well, and I can only relate from a guy's perspective, but I never tried to connect with my body prior to knowing Monique. So yeah, it's a different experience, and it's a whole different sense of senses and awareness that you can bring. And remember, guys, first step is self-awareness to everything. So yeah.
And the more aware you are, the more you trust yourself. The more you trust yourself, the more bold action you take, and you'll align more intuitively to your specific frequency of your best and highest good. And it's all just so wonderful. So thank you guys for joining us today. We hope to see you. And when I have my limiting beliefs, always overtook the process. Oh yeah, definitely. So always remember, your limiting beliefs, they're energy stored in the body that are manifesting as a belief. So we can always trace them back to a place in the body, because all of our emotions resonate with different organs. So we can trace them back to places in the body. And typically there's going to be an emotion attached to those limiting beliefs. And our body just wants to let that energy run its process and move. So if you guys want to talk more about that, we can totally do another video about that. Cause actually we do have a video about emotional processing and triggers and all of that stuff.
There is so much. You guys don't even know how much you don't know yet. That's part of the fun right now, and that's okay. And that's why we're just going to give it to you little by little. And as things come up for you guys in the chats, that's why we love when you're live, because when you are here live with us, we will read your energy. We will adapt what we're doing from week to week to address your concerns, to help you out, because you are the reason why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So thank you guys for hanging out.
Thank you so much.
I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything that you want to speak about. I know that we're running over, but
might as well. I like opening it up to anyone's questions, because
but if not, that's
we're here.
Totally
but
fine.
Totally cool.
And so we will see you guys next week. Thanks for spending your Thursday with us, and sending you lots of love. Oh, and as always, if you have any revelations, questions, comments throughout the week, you can always message us on one of our social medias.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Find us, follow us, love us, talk to us. We'll love you right back.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye, guys.
Have a great week, guys. Thank you so much.